All right, so the last section of chapter 4 is slope by formula. And to start this off, guys, we're going to find slope like we did the other day. Remember, if we have slope on graphs like this, all we have to do is count the rise over the run. Other things you might want to remember, up and to the right is a positive slope, down and to the right is a negative. A vertical line is undefined, and a horizontal line is 0. So I'm going to kind of write these, well, I can scoot it down just a little bit, I guess. Make sure you have that written down. Let's go down to the bottom here. I'm going to try to keep the graph in the picture. So first, I have line A. So I want to look at line A. Now, I think what some people were getting confused with was where do I count from on these lines? You count from any 2 points, and I'll show you what I mean by that on line A. Let's say I use these 2 points on line A. Well, I have 1, 2 for the rise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the run. So I'm going to write that over here, 2 over 5. Now it's going down and to the right, so I know that's negative. Now let's say I pick the other 2 points here and here. It's still 1, 2 for the rise and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the run. So it didn't matter which 2 points I picked. Let's say instead of that I pick the outer 2 points. Well, I get 1, 2, 3, 4 for the rise, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the run, which is 4 over 10, and it's negative, which if I simplify is negative 2 over 5. So any 2 points, okay, will work. So on the first one, I got that the slope was negative 2 over 5. Now, let's look at line B. I'm going to erase the stuff I have on line A. Line B is right here. It looks like it's a perfectly horizontal line, and guys, horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Now I have line C. Undo. Did I just delete that? I'm sorry, I'll rewrite it for you. I'm sorry. I have that line A is negative 2 over 5, and I had line B was 0. Now I have line C. There we go. Line C, I'm going to use these 2 points, but I could pick any. Looks like I have 1, 2, 3 for the rise, and I have 1, 2, 3 for the run. So that's 3 over 3. It's moving up and to the right, so it's positive, but I can simplify 3 over 3 to 1. And then our last one is line D, which is a vertical line, which we know is going to be an undefined slope. So not so bad, guys. Make sure you count carefully, because on the quiz I had a lot of people that didn't count carefully and ended up missing problems. Now, let's look at what we're going to do today. It says, what if no graph is given? And most likely there won't be. What if you only know 2 points that the line goes through? A bit dramatic there, but oh no. The next question says, find the slope of the line through the following points. Well, guys, we've talked about slope a lot. We've always talked about change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to answer this using a couple of questions. The first question is, how much do the y's change? Okay, we've done stuff like this before. My y values go from 2 to 7. Well, how do I get from 2 to 7? That's going to be 5. Then I do the same question. How much do the x's change? Well, my x's go from 5 to 8, and to get from 5 to 8, I use 3. Now, guys, our mantra for slope has been y over x. In this case, it's the change in y. So the slope equals the change in y over the change in x, okay? Now, there is a formula for this, and it's very important. It's on your formula chart for the STAR test, but it's good to know this, and it's on the top of the next page. It says the slope formula. Given 2 points, I'm going to call the first point x1, y1, and the second point x2, y2. The slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're going to do a few of these real quick, kind of see what it looks like. But this is just a formula, guys. It's just replacing variables with numbers that it gives us. So it says find the slope of the line through the points. So the first set, -2, 3, and 4, 8. My suggestion to you is, on the first point, put x1, y1, and on the second point, put x2, y2, okay? You could use the first point as x2, y2, and the second point as x1, y1, as long as whatever point is both the 1s and the other one's both the 2s. That may be a little confusing. So the formula says to find the slope, we take y2 and subtract y1 from it. Well, y1 is 8 minus, y2 is 8 minus y1 is 3. And we divide that by x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is negative 2. Now, this part right here, the negative or the subtracting a negative, a lot of people will just say, oh, well, I put the subtraction sign that takes care of the negative, and it does not. You have to be very careful. So I'm going to go ahead and do a boom boom here. 8 minus 3 is 5, divided by 4 plus 2 is 6. So your slope is 5 over 6. Now, I'm going to do it the opposite way. I'm going to say that these were my 2's and these were my 1's, but you get the same thing. I could do 3 minus 8 over 2, negative 2 minus 4. I would get negative 5 over negative 6, which is still 5 over 6, because the negatives cancel each other out. So it does not matter which point you make your 1's or which point you make your 2's, but be consistent. If you do like y2 minus y1 over x1 minus x2, you will get the wrong answer, okay? Let's look at number 2. I'm going to go ahead and say this is my x1, y1, and this is my x2, y2. So I have y2 minus y1, which is negative 6, over x2, negative 5, minus x1, 7. So I have another boom boom going on. 2 plus 6 is 8. Negative 5 minus 7 is negative 12, so my answer is 8 over negative 12. But I can simplify that in my calculator. And guys, if there's a negative on 1, it doesn't matter where it goes. I'm going to put it out front. 8 over 12 is the same as 2/3. So my slope is negative 2/3. So over here, guys, we had a positive slope. So up and to the right here, it was a negative slope. So down and to the right. That's what the line might look like. So let's look at 3 and 4. Number 3, I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2. I have y2 minus y1, 2 minus 2, over x2 minus x1, 5 minus 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. 5 minus 1 is 4. Any 0 divided by anything gives us 0. That's our slope, which means this is a horizontal line. If I look at number 4, I've got x1, y1, x2, y2. I'm going to do 5 minus 1 over 2 minus 2. Well, that's 4 over 0, and anything divided by 0 is going to be undefined. We cannot divide by 0, which means this is a vertical line, okay? So, guys, these are not hard if you'll take your time, label your x's and y's, and plug them in carefully. Really, it can be a calculator thing after that, so be careful. Let's go to the next part. Now, these are the same thing. It's just written different to try to confuse you, and we've seen problems like this before. I have f of 3 equals negative 1 and f of 5 equals 6. What this is saying is one of my points is 3, negative 1. The other point is 5, 6. So I have my x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to plug those in again. 6 minus negative 1, I've got a boom boom, and 5 minus 3. 6 plus 1 is 7. 5 minus 3 is 2. I can't simplify it any further. Same thing on the next one. G of 0 equals 2 means one of my points is 0, 2. G of 7 equals negative 9 means I have 7 and negative 9. Now I do my x1, y1, x2, y2. I get negative 9 minus 2 over 7 minus 0. Negative 9 minus 2 is negative 11. 7 minus 0 is 7. So, guys, those are not hard problems, and they will be on the STAR test. This is very important because soon we'll be writing equations from 2 points, and finding slope is just about the most important thing you can do on there. Let's go ahead and look at the last 2. These are a little trickier. Now, this time, they gave us 2 points and the slope, but one of the points in each problem is missing a number, so we have to find that number. But it works basically the same. So let's say I have x1, y1 here, and r is my x2, and y is my y2. Let's just set it up how we normally do. I have So I have y2, 5, minus y1, 4, over x2, which is r, minus negative 2, which is x1. So I got a boom, boom, and I know that equals 1/5. Now, I want to do any arithmetic that I can, and I know that 5 minus 4 is 1 over r plus 2, and that equals 1 over 5. Now, guys, this is where something called cross multiplication can really help you. I'm going to multiply the numerator of one side times the denominator of the other. So I have 1 times r plus 2 equals 5 times 1, which is 5. Now I can distribute this 1, but guys, you should know, I'm going to come up here, I used too much space. 1 times r is r, 1 plus 1 times 2 is 2, and that equals 5. Then I just subtract 2 from both sides, and I get that r equals 3, and that's our answer. So you're going to set it up as if they were numbers. You're going to do any arithmetic you can, which usually you'll be able to do 1, either the numerator or the denominator, cross multiply, and then solve. Okay? It's a little trickier than normal, but you can still do it, I promise. Let's do the next one. I have x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have r minus 4 over negative 1 minus 3, and that's going to equal negative 3 over 4. Now I'm going to do my arithmetic. R minus 4 doesn't change, but negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4, and that equals negative 3 over 4. Now I'm going to cross multiply here as well. I'm going to have 4 times r minus 4 equals negative 3 times negative 4. We can do our distribution again. I get 4r minus 16 equals positive 12. Now, guys, we're in a thing that we've done this plenty of times. I can add 16 to both sides. I end up with 4r equals 28. I divide both sides by 4, and I get that r equals 7. So for the most part, guys, this is pretty quick and easy, but I have seen plenty of numbers 5 and 6 on the STAR test. I'm sorry, is it 5 and 6? No, yeah, 5 and 6 on the STAR test. You've absolutely got to know how to do those. If you're having trouble with that, just let me know. But you have to come get the help if you need it, okay? Good luck on the homework.